Hi everyone, my name is Lily, and welcome to my 4 a.m. ramblings. I'm sorry edition. So, yes, I put a lot of thought into that. I am a social worker with Child Protective Services, and I also struggle with my depression and anxiety. So, I took some time off work to kind of get myself better, and I just recently came back to work part time 2 weeks ago, not even a full 2 weeks. Or this is my second week. That makes more sense. And I made this channel as part of my healing journey to kind of advocate. First, that was for my clients, for the kids. And then as it's evolving a little bit more, is to advocate for workers and for myself. I just want to share my knowledge. I want to share my experience. And if my struggles help other people, I have no problem sharing them. I've never had. So I went back to work part time, but I'm also still going to therapy 4 times a week. Yesterday, it was a communication group. And saying, this one was more like, think of that one time where you didn't speak up for yourself, where whether it's to yourself or to somebody else. What was the situation? What would you say differently, or what do you want to say differently? And I wrote a page. I wrote a whole thing of a whole bunch of different things, but the one that stuck with me was a conversation I had with my supervisor last week, just coming back to work. It was, I already had a lot of anxiety about coming back because it's traumatic. It's traumatic to come to work, to put in your all, and then feel so depleted that your only option, like the only way that your brain is handling things is to go to a psychiatric hospital for a break. Like, I've been in that space many times. And it's not 100% related to the work. It's a combination of how my brain works and how my life stressors and work stressors and everything combines. The first 2 days, was okay, little anxiety, not mostly the anticipation of the anxiety of what's going to happen, what's it gonna be. I've been hearing from my coworkers things are really bad. The workload is off the charts. So I didn't know what was coming, right? But when I'm having this conversation with my supervisor, it's like, okay, great, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. And now I don't remember verbatim, so I might be, some things. This is how I took it. It's what I'm trying to say. Not that, like maybe the exact words might have been different, but this is how it came across to me. And I'm not trying to say, my supervisor is not a bad person. She is very nice. She tries very hard for us. But I've said it many. She's not a touchy feely type of person like I am, and our communication styles are different. Sometimes when I speak up for myself, it doesn't come through to her like I'm thinking. Just like when she says things to me, it doesn't come through to me like she's intending it. So basically, the whole I'm just trying to say that because this is part of like my apology is to her. I didn't want this to turn into an attack, or I also, this is about me sticking up for myself. So I don't want to minimize or whatever the opposite of that is. My supervisor was saying, like, I'm going to have to talk to management about this because, last time you went on leave and you came back, we took it easy on you. We eased you in, and 9 months later, you're gone. Of course, we want you to be well, but when you go on leave, it hurts your coworkers that have to pick up the slack, and it hurts me to have to figure that out. So we have to be conscious about everybody. And then we're gonna do like just how are things differently now? How do you feel? How are you gonna be able to handle this? Whatever. So I'm like trying to explain. Yes, last time I was on leave was like at the start of the pandemic, and I was out for a long time, but because there was no treatment. I came back because technically, basically, it was an insurance thing. I ran out of insurance. Back then, the response I got was when I said, I'll come back, I'll show up, I'll do the work. I am not at 100%. I like never felt like I got better. And the response I got was like, oh, you gotta talk to HR about that. Left it at that because at that point, I don't know how to speak up for myself. Now, fast forward next year, they're bringing this up again. And I was hurt because my brain trying to get me to kill myself is not about you. It's not about how much pain I caused you. And I don't know that that was their intention or not because I was going to say I know that it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think this is a mean person that's trying to put me down. But it is a very insensitive thing to say to somebody that's suffering. You do not make somebody else's illness about yourself. And that is how it came across. And at the beginning, I was trying to tell myself, I'm taking it wrong, doubting myself, right? But when I talked about it in therapy, my therapist and the group members went, oh, hell no. My therapist is, it's just the dynamic of the group, right? No, unacceptable. That is not how you talk to somebody. And, it made me like, okay, yeah, okay. My feelings are valid. And it's okay for me to take it that way. Whether it was intended that way or not. That is how it affected me. And I'm entitled to my feelings. So we did the activity yesterday morning about what you would say. So I wrote my whole little script, and basically what I would have liked to have said is I am not responsible for your feelings, whereas as a supervisor, you are responsible for managing my coworkers and my workload. That was my what I felt would be the correct way, right? To have responded to that. To say, I'm I'm not apologizing for that. I'm not apologizing for feeling bothered by it. I should have spoken up for myself to say, you know what? You can have your feelings. Those are your feelings. I am not responsible for them. But you are responsible for this workload issues in managing them. And that's your job. So if I was the only worker that made this mess and threw it out, then yeah, but this is a systemic problem. And I don't appreciate being blamed for it. Now, I'm not gonna say that to my supervisor. I, she still signs my PRs. I'm not going to say it that way. So I put it out in group. I said, this is what I feel is like a more neutral way to say it, but I still don't think it's good enough for my workplace for me to come back and say this. So far so good. So far so good. I haven't messed up. I haven't done anything. Just as I'm getting out of treatment, rushing back home to start working, my work phone starts buzzing because there was a scheduled meeting with a director, like a high up person in our system. I logged in on my phone just to listen in while I was driving home. So it was already started. Again, I wasn't scheduled to be working yet, but I wanted to know what that was going to be about. So the lady's introducing herself, what her, she's new to this position, what her background is, how, she's been in all different programs, everything. And then when they get to the question, she goes, how She was asking about for positives and things. There was like nobody answering because it's really hard to think of positives when you're like down low. Instead of how can I help you, what can I make happen, is what she actually said. What do you need me to explain to you on why we make the decisions we do? How I took it is, I know you're all struggling, so how can I justify myself and my higher ups? So people start talking. Yes, we're struggling. Yes, the pandemic made things more different. But this has been way before the pandemic. Like, we have been struggling. She's like, like a lot of workers are either on the verge or already at totally burned out. And like, she's been trying to quit. Like, there's, I don't know if that's what she said. That's how I took it. Again, I was driving, just listening in. But just everything that she was listing, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I've said it, the people that leave, and this was part what my comment was, we are losing the most qualified. Those are the people that leave first. People that just went to school, graduated with this master's, pay off the 2 years they have to, and leave. They can get jobs elsewhere. Those of us that get stuck behind, the majority of us are bachelor's level, are people that are already burned down, so they don't care enough to try to look for somewhere else. And I didn't mention it there, but I've always said there are some people that are just saints that are there to just selfishly help and put up with all the crap because their goal is to just help people. I like to think I'm there, but I'm not. So when she said it, like, in that, yes, this is being received, and I will address it in an email because it's too many points that you're bringing up, and they're all valid, and we don't have time in this meeting to do it. So I will assure you, everybody's going to be listened to, and I might not be able to give you the answers that you need. There's some things they can't discuss. There's some programs that are not out yet that they're working on. Blah blah blah. Okay, so I'm like, put my hand up, and I'm like, I'm getting in line. So by the time it was my turn to speak, and just like I said, I wanted to add to that, and include my experience from coming back. And my supervisor is in this meeting, and at least one more person in my team, and a few more that work in my office. And I did say, like, we are constantly fed self-care, 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 but when you actually take care of yourself, you're punished for it. And I explained, I just come back from leave, and I was met with, I don't know how I like, actually, I was like, oh shit, what did I just do? And that's the part that I wanted to apologize for. That if I was gonna bring it up, I should have talked to my supervisor directly first, given her a heads up. So my plan was to go back and talk to her afterwards, but it was just such a busy day, and then she's taking the next day off, and then we have a holiday on Monday. So it's just like, it's been on my mind. It's been bugging me. So I'm like, obviously I couldn't sleep. So, and I've been talking about it for 30 freaking minutes now. So, yeah, it's been bothering me. that that was not an okay thing to do. I didn't personally call her out. I didn't say, she personally did, because I don't know. I don't know if it came from management or it came from her, or, if it's an HR thing that they have to ask. I just know that this is how it was approached. So I feel really bad, and I don't have that type of relationship with her where I can just express my feelings. I No, no. I've tried, but we're not on the same wavelength, and things don't come through well between both ways, not just me, not just her, because I have many times said what I thought, you know I'm expressing myself, I'm speaking out for myself, this isn't okay, and she's not getting it that way. Just like when she's told me things, I've taken it a different way. So yeah, that's my 4 a.m. ramblings for today. So, supervisor, I'm sorry. I feel like I threw you under the bus. I hope that you didn't take it that way. It was not my intention. I just, in that situation, that opportunity to talk to somebody higher up about the things going on at the floor level, it doesn't come up very often, and things just happen to line up that way. Otherwise, I'm not saying that I regret the whole. It was maybe the order of the steps. That's what it is. I am not gonna take back that I felt unwelcome. It's hard because I put my all into this work, and now I'm going in a whole other tangent. So it's hard for me not to put those hurt feelings onto the person in authority over me right now. I'm human. Contrary to popular belief, I am human. And I have a lot of feelings.